beyond the Pillars of Hercules, where the ancient world ended and mystery began. There once existed a civilization so magnificent, so advanced, that it seemed blessed by the gods themselves. Its name would echo through eternity. Its name was Atlantis. For over 24 centuries, this legendary lost city has haunted human imagination. It has inspired countless explorers, scholars, philosophers, and dreamers to search the depths for its ancient ruins. But was Atlantis ever real? Was it a genuine memory of a lost civilization? Or was it merely an elaborate fictional parable, invented by a philosopher to teach a moral lesson? The truth may be stranger than the legend itself. In 360 BCE, the Athenian philosopher Plato wrote two remarkable dialogues that would change the course of history forever. In these texts called Timaeus and Critias, he described an island empire of unimaginable power. According to Plato, this empire was larger than ancient Libya and Asia combined. It possessed advanced technology, overwhelming military might, and extraordinary wealth beyond anything the Mediterranean world had ever witnessed. Plato claimed that Atlantis existed 9,000 years before his own time. If we take this literally, it places the civilization around 9,600 BCE, at the end of the last ice age, when catastrophic floods reshaped the world. That era saw global sea levels rise dramatically as massive glaciers melted. Entire coastlines vanished beneath the waves. Lands that had supported human populations for thousands of years were permanently flooded and lost forever. Could a real advanced civilization have been tragically lost in those catastrophic floods? Could memories of that disaster have survived for millennia? To find answers, we must carefully examine exactly what Plato wrote. According to Plato's detailed account, Atlantis began as a divine gift. The mighty Poseidon, Greek god of the sea, had fallen deeply in love with a beautiful mortal woman named Plato, who lived alone on a mountain. To protect his beloved, Poseidon carved the mountain into an elaborate palace. He surrounded it with 3 rings of seawater and 2 rings of land, creating an impregnable fortress of alternating circles, perfectly formed. At the very center stood the temple of Poseidon. According to Plato's precise measurements, this temple was 1 stadium in length, approximately 600 feet. It was the largest and most magnificent structure in the ancient world. The temple exterior was covered entirely in gleaming silver. Golden pinnacles capped the roof, blazing like fire in the sunlight. Inside, the walls shimmered with orichalcum, a legendary metal that flashed with red light. What was orichalcum? Some scholars believe it was a copper alloy, perhaps bronze. Others suggest it was amber or a type of brass. Some think Plato invented it entirely. The mystery of this metal remains unsolved to this day. Inside the temple stood a golden statue of Poseidon in a chariot pulled by 6 winged horses. The statue was so immense that the god's head nearly touched the vaulted ceiling high above. 100 golden sea nymphs surrounded him. The city's defensive wall were engineering marvels beyond anything the ancient world could match. Plato describes them coated in different metals, the outer wall in brass, the middle wall in tin, the inner wall in precious orichalcum. Every detail Plato provides is remarkably specific, exact measurements, precise colors, particular metals. Either he was describing something real, or he was the greatest fiction writer the ancient world ever produced. Atlantis was far more than temples and palaces. It was a thriving empire, with harbors welcoming ships from every corner of the known world. Merchants traded goods from Africa, Europe, and mysterious lands beyond. Ornate bridges connected the rings of land, allowing citizens to travel freely from busy outer markets to the sacred temple at the center. The bridges were wide enough for chariots to pass each other comfortably. Canals had been carved through solid rock, wide and deep enough for triremes to sail directly into the city center. Underground tunnels allowed ships to pass beneath the bridges. It was engineering centuries ahead of its time. The island was impossibly rich. Forests covered the mountains. Elephants roamed the plains alongside cattle and horses. Hot springs and cold springs fed public baths, royal pools, and even special fountains for horses. The central agricultural plain measured 3,000 stadia long and 2,000 wide, roughly 340 by 230 miles. An irrigation system of canals brought water from distant mountains. 10 kings ruled this land as equals, all descended from Poseidon's 10 sons. Every 5 or 6 years they gathered at the temple to renew their sacred oaths, judge disputes, and hunt bulls in ancient rituals. Their laws were inscribed on a pillar of orichalcum, standing at the temple's very heart. Each king swore binding oaths to uphold these sacred laws, and to never wage war against his brothers under any circumstance. For countless generations, this system worked. The Atlanteans were virtuous, wise, and beloved by the gods. They valued wisdom over wealth, virtue over power. But nothing in this world lasts forever. As generations passed, the divine blood of Poseidon grew diluted. With each passing century, the human nature within the royal lines grew stronger. The godly virtues that had sustained them began to fade away. Where once they were content with paradise, now the kings wanted more. Greed replaced virtue. Pride replaced wisdom. They looked beyond their shores and saw lands to conquer, peoples to subjugate, gold to seize. The Atlanteans raised the mightiest army the world had ever seen. Infantry beyond counting, 10,000 chariots, 1,200 warships. They swept across North Africa. They subjugated Western Europe without mercy. Then they set their sights on the Mediterranean, on wealthy Egypt with its gold, on the Greek islands, and finally on Athens itself. The greatest naval armada ever assembled sailed toward the eastern shores. But ancient Athens stood firm. Against overwhelming odds, the courageous Greeks defeated the invaders in terrible battles. They liberated the enslaved peoples. The Atlantean Empire had met its match at last. Zeus watched from Olympus. The Atlanteans had fallen too far from grace. Their ancestor Poseidon could no longer protect them from divine judgment. Zeus called the gods together. Punishment was decreed. Plato writes that Zeus began to pronounce judgment. Then mysteriously, the ancient text breaks off mid-sentence. The words are lost. We will never know exactly what Plato intended to say about the gods' final decree. We know only what happened next. Violent earthquakes split the earth. Catastrophic floods swept across the land. In a single day and night of unimaginable misfortune, the entire civilization vanished beneath the waves forever. For centuries, scholars have debated, did Plato describe a real place, or did he invent Atlantis as a philosophical allegory? This question has divided thinkers since the Renaissance and remains controversial today. Most classicists today believe Atlantis was fiction, a cautionary tale about hubris and the corruption of power. Plato was teaching philosophy. They argue, not history. The details were invented to make his point. Plato was famous for using myths to illustrate deeper truths. The allegory of the cave, the allegory of the chariot, these were philosophical tools. Atlantis may simply be his most elaborate and successful invention. His story contrasted virtuous ancient Athens against corrupt, powerful Atlantis. The message was clear. Military power and material wealth mean nothing without virtue. Even the mightiest civilization can fall. Yet Plato insisted this was a true story. He claimed it came from Egyptian priests who told it to the great lawgiver Solon 200 years earlier. Solon brought the tale back to Athens, where it was passed down. The story allegedly passed through generations, from Solon to his relative Dropides, to Critias the Elder, to Critias the Younger, who appears in Plato's dialogue. 4 generations of oral transmission. No other ancient source confirms this transmission. No Egyptian records of Atlantis have ever been found. Yet Plato's account contains remarkably specific details, exact measurements, precise descriptions. Could there be a kernel of truth buried in the legend? Did some real catastrophe inspire the story? Scientists have spent decades searching. Some think they may have found the answer in an unexpected place. In the Aegean Sea lies Santorini, a crescent-shaped island surrounding a flooded volcanic crater. Tourists flock here for the beauty. Scientists come for a different reason. This place holds an ancient secret. Around 1600 BCE, this island was called Thura. It was home to a thriving Bronze Age civilization, the Minoans. They built cities with running water, multi-story buildings, and beautiful art. The Minoans were master seafarers and traders. Their influence spread across the entire Mediterranean. Their city of Akrotiri on Thura was particularly wealthy, a jewel of Bronze Age civilization. Then disaster struck. The volcano at the island's heart exploded in one of the most catastrophic eruptions in human history. It measured 7 on the volcanic explosivity index, equivalent to 40,000 atomic bombs. The eruption ejected roughly 30 cubic kilometers of rock into the atmosphere. Ash fell as far away as Egypt and Turkey. The explosion could be heard thousands of miles away. The world literally shook. Tsunamis radiated outward, devastating coastal settlements across the Aegean. The waves crashed into Crete, destroying Minoan ports. An entire civilization that had flourished for centuries was brought to its knees. The center of Thura collapsed into the emptied magma chamber, creating the caldera we see today. The sea rushed in. An entire world vanished overnight. The parallels to Plato's story are striking. Could memories of this catastrophe, passed down through centuries of oral tradition, have become the legend of Atlantis? Many scholars think this is the most likely inspiration for Plato's tale. Santorini is far from the only candidate for Atlantis. Dozens of locations have been proposed across centuries of speculation, from Morocco to Antarctica, from Ireland to Indonesia, from Bolivia to the Black Sea. In the Sahara Desert of Mauritania lies a strange geological formation called the Richat Structure, also known as the Eye of Africa. Its concentric circle sparked a viral internet theory in recent years. Proponents claim its rings match Plato's description. They say the Sahara was once green and wet, with rivers flowing to the sea. They point to ancient artifacts found in the area as evidence. However, geologists say the structure is 100 million years old, formed by volcanic uplift and erosion, not engineering. No archaeological evidence of any city has ever been found there. Off the coast of Spain near ancient Cadiz, researchers have made intriguing underwater discoveries. In 2025, archaeologist Michael Donnellan claimed to find concentric walls on the seafloor. Donnellan believes these structures match Plato's descriptions and date back over 10,000 years. However, mainstream archaeology remains skeptical. The structures need independent verification. The search continues in the Caribbean, the Mediterranean, and even beneath Antarctic ice. New technologies reveal the seafloor in unprecedented detail. Everyone wants to be the one who finally finds Atlantis. But perhaps the real Atlantis cannot be found on any map or seafloor. Perhaps it exists only where Plato placed it, in the realm of philosophy, allegory, and the eternal human imagination. Whether real or imagined, Atlantis has endured for 24 centuries. It has survived the rise and fall of empires, the birth of religions, and the dawn of science. It speaks to something deep within the human soul. We dream of paradise lost. We are drawn to stories of golden ages destroyed by human failings. We imagine secrets hidden beneath the waves, waiting for the right explorer to discover them. Plato's message remains clear across the millennia. Even the mightiest civilization can fall if it abandons virtue for greed, wisdom for power, justice for conquest. This warning echoes louder today than ever. Every generation sees in Atlantis a reflection of its own fears and hopes. The Romans saw hubris. The Victorians saw lost wisdom. We see climate change, rising seas, and civilizations at risk. Perhaps we keep searching for Atlantis because we are searching for ourselves for proof that great things are possible, and warning that great things can be lost. The search itself has meaning. The legend reminds us that no empire lasts forever, no matter how powerful. Babylon fell. Rome fell. Every great civilization meets its end. What matters is the wisdom we leave behind for those who follow. The search for Atlantis will continue. New technologies will reveal secrets still hidden beneath the sea. Future generations will bring new theories, new hopes, new expeditions into the unknown. Whether we ever find it or not, Atlantis has already given us its greatest gift, the power to dream of worlds beyond our own, and the wisdom to build something worthy of being remembered.